All right, everybody, listen, you are leaving money on the table week after week because your deal flow is just full of bad leads and your analysis, it's too damn slow. What if you could see investor grade properties in real time, bet them in minutes, and outsource every single thing that's not closing? So today, my good longtime friend Benson Juarez is here. He is joining us. He built PRIVY for investors who are sick of the guesswork and they're ready to actually execute with real, reliable data. He's helped real estate pros uncover hidden gems, right? The comps, automate underwriting, and scale with lean virtual teams. So if you're stuck in the weeds, you're chasing trash leads, you're underwriting manually, you're trying to do it all yourself, this episode is absolutely for you. It's the blueprint to level up. This is the Closers Club where real investors get tactical, no fluff insights to dominate today's market. So let's get right into it. Benson, my friend, thank you so much for being here, man. I want to jump right in. So many investors, right? They're stuck scraping deals manually or searching Facebook, wasting hours on dead leads. What's the core issue or real market problem that you saw that made you guys want to build PRIVY in the first place?
Yeah, it's been a lifelong sort of issue for many investors, right? Just grinding for deals, looking for ways of identifying opportunities quickly, really shortening the time period from lead to close.
Yeah.
And, investors have been fighting that for years. And so, many years ago, my business partner, Scott Fall, and I were in the same office. And honestly, he's more the brainchild of this company than I am, right? So I happen to be an investor early on, and now I've helped run the company, but it's Scott and our team that really developed the technology and pulled everything together. Mm-hmm. So I have to give the credit to them.
Okay.
But really, we're just looking for a way of automating all the tedious stuff that we were doing every day.
Right.
We were agents. I'm still an agent, but then we had the MLS. We had all the filters that we could put into it. We had the ability to pull lists and do all the manual processes, but it was just heavy, right? Yeah. It was just a heavy process that would bog you down and not allow you to be agile or to scale the amount of deals you could do or the amount of clients you could serve. And so PRIVY was built to automate all those processes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, all right. So we're talking about finding, especially for us and for our clients and people follow us, really finding those investor grade properties. How do investors find flip worthy properties, right? Before they hit the MLS, what else can they be doing? How can we use PRIVY to do that?
Well, the first thing is figure out where to look. So I would say 80% of the problem that people face is they're just looking in the wrong areas.
Okay.
An unrenovated property will never be a deal unless there's another property that's been renovated recently that is a comp of that property.
Gotcha.
What creates the deal is the comp.
Mm-hmm.
The property by itself is not a deal unless the comp gives you the after repair value.
That's a great insight. I don't think a lot of people always realize that. They think, oh, well, it's just a boarded up house. It's a deal. Well, is it? I don't know.
It's not. So we track investment activity nationwide. We know every single property that was fixed and flipped. We know what they bought it for, what they sold it for, the percentage of ARV they bought it at. We know who did the transaction, meaning the buyer, right? So PRIVY can be used to build a buyer's list. We know the agents that were involved in those transactions. We know the agent that sold in the deal, if it was purchased on market. We know the agent that sold that property for them after they renovated it. So we've been tracking all this data for years.
Yeah.
And you said something right here that I think is one of the biggest misconceptions about the area. You said, how do we get these properties before they hit the MLS?
Yeah.
Right there is one of the biggest problems.
Okay.
People think you can't find good deals on the MLS. Now that's true in some areas, but what I mentioned before is, where are the comps located? So first, no matter what your strategy is, whether you're targeting off-market deals or on-market, you have to be looking in areas that has high investor activity.
Right.
We track that, we model it, and we map it out nationwide, and we update it every single hour all across the country. So you know specifically which general markets you should be investing in.
Yeah.
Chicago versus Des Moines.
Yeah. And that right there, like, is one of the most important things, right? You have to be, I always say, like, I want to fish in the pond where there's the highest likelihood of catching something, right? So I
Right.
want to be in a spot where there are actually cash buyers.
Right. Where there's cash buyers, people
Right.
doing deals, right?
Mhm.
I think about it from comps.
Mhm.
But the comps actually are the cash buyers. They're one and the same.
Yeah,
You have no buyers, you have no comps,
exactly.
right? And comps also too, there's a word in there that's competition. So some people like say, "Well, I want to avoid competition."
Mhm.
Well, guess what happens if you avoid competition? You have no comps,
Yeah.
right? So it's a double-edged sword, right? So what we do is we track all this investment activity nationwide, and then we tell you which markets to target, and then not just only that, but which
Mhm.
neighborhoods to target.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking about, okay, I need to find an unrenovated home,
Mhm.
we're thinking about a half a mile from that home, there has to be another house that was renovated that's going to
Sure.
create that margin.
Mhm.
So you're talking about very specific neighborhoods. So people who are using kind of blanket approaches where they're pulling lists on counties or zip codes,
Mhm.
they're likely targeting areas that aren't going to be viable because the comps aren't there, even if they find that unrenovated home.
Mhm.
Even if they can talk to the person who's in foreclosure who says they want to sell them their house. Now
Right.
they're scrambling to go and find the comps after the fact, and they realize, I can't make this work.
Yeah.
Only way I can make this work is to give them a lowball offer that they're never going to accept anyway. So now they just wasted all that time.
Mhm.
If you target high investor activity areas to start,
Yes.
you solve all the problems that are going to catch up in the back end. And by the way, you're going to find way more deals on the MLS.
Mm.
So we pulled down the data and we compared every single property that was flipped to what was done on market and what was done off market.
Yeah.
And there was a 97% correlation between the amount of investor activity that's in a market and the number of on market deals.
Really?
It's almost perfect. It's 0.03% away from a perfect correlation.
Wow.
So if you are not targeting high investor activity areas, then you almost have to do an off market strategy because that's the only way to find viable deals.
Uh-huh.
Because you have to find the person who's so distressed, they're just going to give their property away, which we know doesn't happen very often, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you're lowering the chances that you're going to find a viable deal on or off market. Not everybody's a salesperson,
Right.
but even if you are a good salesperson, why not have one lead generation strategy that is low cost where the agent can do all the work for you?
Hmm.
Or you can use a software like PRIVY,
Yeah.
which actually has an algorithm. We got our patent, by the way, in April.
Okay.
Reverse search. It's called the comparative search, which uses all this investor activity as a model, reverse engineers it, and find deals you can buy right now that are on market
Right.
that match your specific deal criteria. So you
Now,
define the discount.
listen, there could be a lot of people who are skeptical, right? Like, can I trust a software to tell me what properties to buy? Can I just go by that?
100% you can. It's way better than having a person tell you
Yeah.
because there are emotions involved and their judgment. Whereas data, there obviously is some, there's some on positive and negative that the data is not going to be 100% accurate.
Right.
But we're not telling you to submit offers blindly. We're saying, okay, there's 100 new properties on the market today.
Yeah.
These 5 are deals. Here's the comparative market analysis with all the comps that prove they're deals. Verify
Mm-hmm.
that they're deals, and then decide whether or not you want to make an offer at that point. So the whole point is to optimize this entire workflow.
Yeah.
So in the past, people who have given on-market deals a bad name because they're comparing their experience with the reality. Most people aren't in a high investor activity area.
Mm.
Most of them are low. So if they do any on-market marketing or any on-market lead gen, they're going to have the experience where there's not finding any deals.
Right.
But if you target a high investor activity area and you have an MLS driven strategy where you're working with an agent, it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, or I'd say it's a perfect correlation between
Mhm.
high investor activity and on-market deals.
Yeah.
In some markets, it's as high as 70% come
Whoa.
from the MLS.
Okay.
The average, even when you're comparing all the markets that are low and high, is 39% come from the MLS. That's the
Really?
average. And of the largest markets, there's like not a handful, I'd say like 10. They're
Mhm.
all approaching 50%. So if you're ignoring on-market
Mhm.
opportunities as a major driver of lead generation,
Yeah.
you're just passing up on half of the deals.
That's
Just
wild.
because you have a sense in you, a
Mhm.
misconception that there aren't good deals on the MLS. It's just not true.
Yeah, and that's one thing we've always talked about is, you always have to start with the end in mind, right? So let's do something. Let's use a software that's going to tell us, where that's at. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. So, this is a problem that a lot of investors have, right? How do I quickly analyze and just underwrite those deals so that I know which are the ones that I should be, pursuing? So,
Yeah.
um, why are most investors just wasting hours underwriting on deals that weren't worth it? And what should they be doing, right? How can you guys help them?
Well, we'll go back to the original premise, which is without investor activity, you have no comps.
Yeah.
So don't run comps on a property that doesn't fit your model of
Mhm.
what a deal looks like, right? So don't go and underwrite deals
Mhm.
in Dodge City, Kansas, right? Somebody's going to send you a deal in an area
Yeah,
that is not even worth spending your time on.
right.
So if you use our investor activity and then you create a short list of
Mhm.
all the zip codes, maybe, or maybe it's a ratio, not a ratio, but some sort of a geographic area on a map,
Mhm.
or it's a county, like however you want to identify it. Only analyze properties that are in those areas.
Mhm.
Easiest way to find a deal is just to find the unrenovated home or the house that has some distress to it
Mhm.
that's down the street from a house that was fixed and flipped and sold yesterday.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to find a deal. So if you target areas that have a bunch of renovated homes, and then you can just find the ones that are unrenovated that are near them, either by doing off-market marketing strategies, direct
Yeah.
to seller, or telling your agent to pull stuff from the MLS or using PRIVY, then when you do find an opportunity, you got 5 fixed and flipped houses that are in the same neighborhood, and the ARV is clear. It's simple.
Mhm.
If you got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that's unrenovated that hasn't been updated since 1970,
Mhm.
and there's another house that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's just like that one that was fixed and flipped and sold last week,
Yeah.
whatever it's sold for,
That's what
that's
I
your
think.
ARV.
Yeah. And you can also look back and say, what did they buy this property for? Right. So that tells you
Yeah.
what ballpark you need to be offering. I mean, in 39 of 50 states, right? At least all of the disclosure states, you can get pretty darn close. So I absolutely love that.
Well,
Um,
even with Privy, it doesn't matter.
really?
We got what they bought it for and sold it for, even
Oh,
in non-disclosure states,
okay.
because we have direct to MLS data.
Right. Wow. Yeah. I
So
remember.
Texas, for example, right, is a non-disclosure state. We've got 6 MLS data feeds down there.
Mhm.
It's the same data that agents and appraisers use.
Really?
It's directly from the MLS.
Yeah.
Now, the view that an investor has is slightly different than what an agent
Sure.
user of ours would see, because they can see private remarks and
Yeah.
certain things that they can't see.
Mhm.
And when they sign in, we're going to have a bunch of agents they can use to help them write offers on deals
Mhm.
or help them comp properties out if they need assistance. But
Yeah.
with Privy, it's going to make it so much easier to find the opportunities, underwrite the properties, and then if they want to loop their agent in to write an offer, they can do that very easily.
I love that. So here's something that a lot of investors they either struggle with. Um, they only want to do maybe deals in their own backyard, but they live in what'd you say, dog whatever, Kansas,
Dodge
right?
City.
Dog City. Is that a real place?
Yeah, Dodge City.
No.
That's where oh where they fought the OK Corral,
Oh, okay. All right.
I
So
think,
yeah,
right?
maybe you live in Dog City, Kansas, right? And there's like maybe 900 people. There are certainly investors who are in those small areas. Um, you know, but they know they should be out in those other places. So which is better, right? That local knowledge or is technology? Is that kind of that new edge that these investors should really be leaning into?
It has nothing to do with technology. It has to do with comps.
Okay,
So if the comps don't exist, don't waste your time there.
got it.
You're just wasting your time. in an area that's low investor activity. So you can solve something there with that problem. With a low investor activity area, you can't solve for having no comps.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. You can't get the ARV of a home that has no renovated homes around it.
Right. There's got to be.
If I go to South St. Louis, I'm going to have comps, but I'm also going to have some competition. I can solve for that. I can be faster, more efficient, more agile. I can have better strategies. I can solve for that, but you can't solve for having no comps. They just either exist or they don't.
Right. And definitely there are people that for some reason are just convinced that they want to be in these rural markets. And if nobody's going to buy it, nobody's going to buy it. Like you're just spinning your wheels. It's difficult to overcome that.
Well, comps are for you to be able to understand after repair value.
Yeah.
And be able to negotiate a price that makes sense. So you can decide what percentage you need to buy it at for it to make sense. But the comps are for all the stakeholders in the process.
Yeah.
Right. So the stakeholders are a lender. There's no lender that's going to lend on that property if you don't have comps that prove ARV. The appraiser that comes in, let's say you did the best renovation you've ever done in your entire life.
Right.
You fix it up and it looks like it should be on HGTV. You go to list it.
Yeah.
The person loves it. They come in and they're like, this won't appraise. There's no comparables that substantiates this value that you put on the home. My person loves it, but we can't get a loan unless you lower the price to this number.
Right.
So the comps is the big thing. Do not look for deals in areas that don't have comparables where you can't establish after repair value.
Right.
And if you do target those areas, you're going to have buyers in the back end. You're going to have the comps to substantiate value. You're going to be able to do more stuff on market, which is going to be less costly to you, less marketing costs, less salesmanship skills, less follow-up. Everything becomes easier.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because you can sort of backwards engineer the whole process so that you can get more predictable results. So let's talk a little bit about like just building very simple systems, right? For people that are maybe just getting started or, they want to add this strategy in, like talk about that and how even they can use their virtual team so that they could just increase the number of closings that they've got.
Yeah. So PRIVY was designed to automate a lot of the stuff that you need to do. So comping right out of the gates is really easy. Yeah. So even as an agent, if I want to comp a property out right now with my MLS, it can take me an hour or more to comp out one property.
Yeah.
And that's even having 20 years of experience and having access to the MLS.
Right. To do it right.
There's no algorithm in there. PRIVY is comping out every single property in the US and building a comparative market analysis for you that updates live with price changes, status updates, comparable changes, all in real time. Yeah. So that whole process has been systematized in a way where you can comp out any property or a list of properties. You can upload a list of 1,000 properties and PRIVY will comp them all out in a matter of seconds.
Really? I love that.
Produce a CMA for all of them. Then you can upload them in your CRM and just go at it. Yeah. And you talked about the team, right? So if you can get on board and you start seeing these deals in PRIVY that are on market, and by the way, there's an algorithm, right? So once you find the high investor activity area, we got a button you push, find similar active deals, and it models all of the closed deals that happened, what they bought them for, sold them for, percentage of ARV, and it reverse engineers it, and it goes out and it finds properties that you can buy right now that match your specific deal criteria, but based off of what's already succeeded, right? What other investors have already done that has had success.
Yeah.
And then you can save that search and it will find those properties for you, any market in the country automatically, and then email you when they're found with a link to the property that you can verify the comparables, decide if it makes sense, get it to your agent, and then you can have your agent do all the work for you.
Love that.
They'll write the offer. They'll verify your numbers. They'll give you feedback. They'll say, listen, I liked this property, but it looks like it's on the other side of this major road.
Yeah.
It might be a 10% reduction. So let's get a little bit lower on the offer. We don't want to get, too deeply negotiated where we negotiate ourselves out of a deal.
Sure.
But now you got a team member, right? And they don't require payment.
Right.
An agent doesn't going to take money from you up front. They get paid on the back end when a deal closes. And we've created a program now with PRIVY where we run the data on every single investor-friendly agent in the US, and we know how many deals they've done, whether they work with fix and flippers or landlords or some other hybrid strategy.
Yeah.
And now we've partnered up with them to get them in our system.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I know you guys have some crazy stuff going on.
We do. Yeah. So we'll match you up with investor-friendly agents who have actually done deals, right? We verify that with the data. So they're vetted out.
Yeah.
And they've also taken a course that shows them how to use PRIVY and how they understand the data and the technology. And then we match you up with them. And now you guys can go out and conquer the world.
Yeah. So they're going to want to work with us. They're not going to hate us because we're investors.
Oh yeah. They love investors. They just don't want their time wasted.
Right. That's true.
And this is the benefit of using PRIVY, because when we were talking about, okay, you can't find deals on the MLS, there's also this misconception that agents don't like working with investors. They just don't want to work with the investors who don't know the realities of the market. Investors historically have been going in and just submitting low ball offers,
right? Because
they're in the wrong areas, right? So if they target a high investor activity area, you can offer asking price at a distressed home that's down the street from a home that was fix and flipped. You could offer over asking price. I've done it. I've offered over asking price on market deals, got under contract and wholesaled it the next day for $5,000-$10,000.
Wow.
That only works in the right neighborhoods. Right. So the data will solve so many problems.
I love that.
So anyone who's listening, we can get you with the right agents. And by the way, there's other services out there that do this, like, Bigger Pockets, great service.
Sure.
They don't verify that any of those agents have done a single deal.
Right.
All they do is they go, it's pay to play.
Right.
They pay, they get in there, their profile gets put up, they get matched with an agent or with an investor. And the investor says, hey, what percentage of ARV should I submit an offer at? And the agent's like, what's ARV? And they don't know, right? So we only match up our investors with agents that we have verified have done deals.
Love that. I love that. All right, dude, that was actually unbelievable, guys. For those of you that haven't heard of PRIVY, like, I don't know how you haven't, or maybe you're living out underneath a rock. Benson and I met the first time, maybe 2 or 3 years ago at an event down in San Antonio, and he gave me like a behind the scenes tour of everything that PRIVY does, and I was absolutely freaking stunned. Like the photos and all of the information and the data and how it can pull out these deals. It's absolutely crazy. So listen, make sure that you follow up and check it out. Benson dropped an absolute masterclass here today on how to find better deals, underwrite faster, and scale with systems, not stress. So if you want more from Benson, or you want to see what PRIVY can do, hit the links down below or the ones that we've dropped in the comments, and follow him on social media. He's active, he's sharp, and he's always providing just so much value. That's why I love to watch every single thing that he puts out. Benson, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. I really appreciate it. This was incredible. For those of you that are watching, this wraps up another episode of the Closers Club, where real investors get real tactics that actually grow right now. So if you got value from this, please like the video, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's ready to stop playing small and ready to start closing like a pro. I'm David Olds. I appreciate you rolling